Before you watch the video, make sure you check out my full digital SAT math and verbal section video courses. These are the #1 rated video courses on Udemy, and I'm sure they're going to help you during your SAT prep. In this session, we are going to focus on practicing scatter plots and the line of best fit questions. On the SAT, you're sometimes going to get scatter plots that represent a line, and at other times you're going to have other curves. Regardless, it's always going to be intuitive to solve such questions as long as you follow some common sense, keywords, and knowledge that we have covered already. So let's take a look at question number 1. We see a scatter plot in front of us, and of the following, we need to find which represents the line of best fit. In order to find the line of best fit, we just draw an imaginary line, let's say. You don't necessarily have to physically draw it, you could just imagine it. And you ask yourself where it crosses the y-axis. That is going to be your y-intercept. And then you write your own equation. Y is equal to mx plus the y-intercept. In this case, y-intercept is 7. Now, another thing that we see here is that the slope is negative. So the only answer with a negative slope and a positive 7 y-intercept is D. You don't need to find the slope in this situation. You don't need to calculate it with rise over run because, as you can see, the choices are different. But if there was another choice with the y-intercept of 7 and the negative slope, then you would definitely need to calculate the correct slope. Let us now move on to the next question. We see here 2 lines, and there are scenarios. But all we need is to find which of the following is the graph of function s. As you can see, s is a linear equation, with s being the vertical variable and n being the horizontal variable. And 30 here is the slope, while the 1280 is the s-intercept. The slope is positive, so the line has to be going upward. B is eliminated. And the y-intercept is 1280. Now, when you have a positive slope, and out of all these choices, the only choices with the correct y-intercept are A and D, you need to find which one represents the slope of 30 the best. In which of the choices do you have to rise 30 units when you go 1 unit to the right? Well, in this case, it's a bit difficult because going 1 unit to the right, you're not going to see anything in detail. Instead, go 10 units to the right, because for every 10 units you go to the right, you will have to go 300 units up, right? So let's go from 0 to 10. From 0 to 10. We will need to go from 1280 to 1580. That's because the slope is 30. So for 1 unit to the right, you go 30 units up. That means for 10 units to the right, you go 300 units up. And the only choice where we see that at 10 we have something like 1500 is A. D has a fairly flat slope. In fact, it is flat, right? There is no slope here. Therefore, D goes away. Let's now move on to the next question. Here's a scenario. The temperature in degrees of a hot object placed in a room is recorded every 5 minutes. The temperature of the object decreases rapidly at first, then decreases more slowly. Which scenario represents this situation? Well, there's a decrease in temperature, so B and C are going to go away, because in C and B, the temperature is actually increasing, whereas in our situation, it's supposed to decrease. They said that the temperature decreases rapidly at first, and then it's decreasing slower and slower and slower and slower. Yeah, so it takes it more time to decrease even a little bit, although in the beginning it took it less time to decrease a lot. That's what they're trying to tell us. And that type of a curve is here. Choice A.